Hello everybody, and welcome to this side of the galaxy. My name is Arthur Silent, and as some of you already know, I do videos on spiritual stuff. Sometimes other things. But this week, we are going to be talking about clairvoyance more in depth than I did the last time I talked about it. And what's really crazy, what's really interesting about this specific gift is that it has been reported useful in most societies of old. So I'm talking like Greece, there was oracles, there's shamanism and the Native American style spirituality, right? And then we have like Egypt and Rome and all of these different societies. We have consistency of abilities, right? And some of them are clairaudience, claircognizance, help me out here, sentience, right? And what I find really interesting is that the common denominator here is that all throughout history there's evidence of this ability, and yet people still to this day deny its very existence. And we're going to shed some light on some of the information that I have scooped into my brain from personal experience and the internet and other people, right? So let's get started. Let's see, clairvoyance, right? So with clairvoyance, the thing to keep in mind is, first of all, it's not the only capable ability out of all of the clair abilities. It's not the most important. So first of all of them are equally important and valid in their own right, and most people generally have a mixture of like one or two abilities, right? So getting down to the brass tacks, what is it? It means clear sight. That's what it translates into, right? And where this ability stems from is our third eye right here. And when our pineal gland or our third eye has less toxins in it, we drink the right water, we eat the right food, and we meditate, what happens is that our pineal gland starts to open up and we start to show signs of these abilities and gifts. Now, hereditarily speaking, some people are more inclined to have this gift opened if they are eating right and doing the right things, correct? So just throwing that out there. And like I said, some people have a mixture of one or two of these abilities, and it's all good. It's all gravy, right? So let's walk back in history a little bit. So in Greece, in the Greek pantheon, for example, there were places of worship for Apollo, right? And Apollo is a god, obviously. He's a god of, the sight, visions of the sun, right? And I don't know a whole lot about Apollo, as I follow different parts of the pantheon, or read up on certain things that relate to me, right? Which is what everybody does, of course. But that's just one example. So people would be, or have been, or have had this gift unlocked, right? And they would send them to be trained in specific temples or go to specific shrines, right? Priestesses, stuff like that. People would become oracles, and then they would predict events that were going to unfold, like the Oracle of Delphi, those kinds of things. And it was a very sacred thing. And in the past, throughout history, these types of oracles in this specific pantheon, and I'm sure others as well, they would abstain from either marriage, right? For one, marriage, or any kind of sexual contact with anybody. And it wasn't so much as to keep them, it wasn't so much to keep them not from intertwining with other people's energy. It was more so that they can keep the open option of being with said god at the time, right? Or even goddess. So it was more like they were married to their gift and to the spirits above. And like I said, that's just one example. So going farther into it, when you start unlocking this ability, this clear sight, sometimes you'll get a lot of dreams that predict the future, right? So you'll have dreams, or you'll get little snippets of like visions predicting an event that could unfold in the future. Or, and this has happened to me before, there are spirits that will tap in to this energy center in your body and show you specific things, either to cause a lot of fear or to show you something very specific, or perhaps they want you to help them, right? So usually, like I had said in the past, this is a very, very interesting ability that has been valued throughout history, right? And it can show in a lot of different ways. Familiars, for example, witches' familiars. I'm sure a lot of people have connected familiars to witches. What typically happens is a familiar is a fourth dimension entity that follows you around and helps you with casting spells or protection or those kinds of things, right? So let's say a familiar has found you and is trying to show you signs that it's aware of your presence, that it's connected to you. It may send you signs of like feathers, or if it's a bird type of familiar, it may send you images of certain felines, if it's more of a feline type, or a dog, or a wolf. Or it may take you to a specific pathway when you're going for a walk, and it'll know that there's paw prints there that you're going to take interest in, right? So this ability has a very, very wide variety of uses, right? And it's not just getting visions, or seeing into different dimensional pathways that could possibly open up for you. It's looking into the fourth dimension, right? So you're in a constant stream of altered vibrational frequency, and it's not so much like a ham radio, like you're picking up on other people's thoughts or energies, right? It's like, how do I say this? It's like you're a unicorn with a horn on your head, right? And as you're running around, the velocity of the horn on the wind divides physical matter, allowing you to perceive all different aspects of reality, which can be pretty intense. As an example, being able to see spirits and ghosts. Now, most people, when they first start kindergarten or grade school, right, the system in this third dimension of reality, what happens is they start to hone in on the more logical side of your brain, causing you to lose track of your spiritual gifts. So instead of going right, you go left. Right? Left? Yeah, left. What happens is a lot of children lose their gifts. They can see spirits. They can see their past life. They can see if they were other beings in the universe, so to speak, right? Now, seeing spirits is something that is also related to schizophrenia. Now, in all of my research, I haven't really come across any spiritual cure for it except for one specific thing. And that one specific thing has to relate to shamanism. And if some of you know, and some of you may not know, Dr. Soma, he is a shaman. I don't exactly know why they call him doctor. I'm sure it's for a good reason. He came to America to do a bit of research on psychiatry and why our levels of psychiatric diseases and mental illness was so high in the United States. And when he came down here, he came to a mental facility or ward, and what he saw, because he was also a shaman, was that a lot of the people who had bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, or a lot of these really intense mental disorder, even major depression, right? So what's happening is that people are having spirits attached to them, and they're causing and eliciting a lot of these reactions, which is causing imbalance in the, not just the chakra system, but in their mind as well. And I believe he stated something about ancestors being one of kind of those spirits that would come in and enter your energy field, right? And cause that disturbance because they need help on the other side from you. Or perhaps before you were born, you had agreed to help them. And since we have free will here, a lot of times we get lost. And there's no... We get lost in the amnesia from when we incarnate into the planet Earth, right? We forget everything about our past, all of our past lives. Everything is just gone, and we start fresh, we start new. And like I had discussed in one of my other videos about the multidimensionality of planet Earth and string theory, how I could make the decision to drive down the street right now or stay where I'm at, right? And that, which I'm not going to do, but in that altered universe where I'm driving down the street, that is another part of reality that has branched off from this point, right? And that happens with every single decision that we make in life. It's like a video game, RPG more specifically, I guess. And branching off, right? Part of free will. I forgot what I was saying. So, essentially though. Oh man, so right, since there is so much ability to do whatever it is that we desire, we tend to lose track of keeping to our karmic contracts with spirits, other beings, our ancestors and stuff. And so they come down here to remind us, hey, you agreed to help me, but you're not helping me. What are you doing, right? So they intergrain with our energy field, and they cause a lot of disturbances. And what Dr. Soma had said, that what his tribe does is that it's called clearing, right? So they clear the energy and they rebalance the aura. And then of course his tribe is out in the middle of the forest, and there tends to be a lot less malignant spirits out in that specific direction. So it's easier to heal, it's easier to clear. And then so he took a kid who was there, and he took him out and he did this ceremony, and he cleared his energy. He allowed him to speak to the spirit of the forest and a bunch of other stuff, right? And after he did that, he was gone for 8 months, maybe longer than that, probably longer than that. His tribe adopted him into their fold as a shaman to help his people there. And instead of coming back, he decided to stay there and continue to help the people, right? And you're probably thinking, what the heck does this have to do with clairvoyance, right? Sometimes the leading cause of schizophrenia or people's abilities opening up, which some would call psychosis, right? And I'm not a mental health professional. This is just things that I've read, and I'm just sharing information with you, right? Sometimes the reasons why these things happen is because of outside forces, of entities, right? And with shamanism, what happens is the clairvoyant, they go into the spirit world, right? They're able to step into the fourth dimension and look and see and talk to specific entities and spirits that are going to give them information to bring back to the tribe that would make them perhaps have a happier harvest, or to avoid calamities like a flood or an earthquake that would destroy their village. And they say that with the shaman, there's two different aspects of a shaman. One that does all the shamanic work, that lives in the shadow, and the one that lives in the light, correct? Like someone's ego. So it's very interesting to me. And just to, I guess, reiterate on some of the stuff I said in the original video, was about how people would keep certain bloodlines in the family, correct? To make sure that the blood wasn't thin enough to where certain people wouldn't have gifts. And then that's where you come up with like clubfoot or a lot of these hereditary crossbreeding things that happen when people keep the blood in the family. So there's some other things you can do with this gift as well, right? When you meditate, you can go to the Akashic Records. You can look at the Akashic Records and see your past life and the books that you've checked out there and come back with a lot of information, including, I don't know if you're allowed to look at your own book while you're there, but it's one of those things that you can do. And when I say your own book, I mean the book of your life. How you were born, why you were born, what you decided to choose after being born. It's just like this book that tells you about your life and how you're going to die, right? And it's just amazingly interesting to me for some reason. And visiting the Akashic Records isn't the only thing you can do, right? There's so much you can do with this ability. Beyond going to the Akashic Records, beyond seeing spirits all the time, beyond sensing the future, right? Getting visions from spirits or going on vision quests. There's your pineal gland has to do with everything for you to like fall asleep, and it induces the conditions of where you would go when you're sleeping, sometimes other planes of existence, right? So it also relates to astral traveling, lucid dreaming, right? So a lot of these abilities and capabilities and a lot of these things that people want and love to do, it can be a little bit difficult, and raising your vibrational frequency to this level too quickly can cause acute insanity. And there's really no other way to say it. And some people will probably be like, oh, well, I don't care, I do it anyways, right? What if one day you built up your abilities, right? And no, we'll do this instead. Let's say you went to Brazil, right? Or one of these other countries that has ayahuasca, and you take the drink, but you're not ready for the journey, and you go, and you just open up, right? Your frequency is just so high, your pineal gland is all the way up, you're just in a journey, right? And you're gone. You see things about your past life, you see things about your totem animals, you see things that you're not ready to see. Excuse me, I'm drinking a lot of caffeine today. You see things that you're not ready to see, like perhaps how you died in a past life, how your closest ones to you are going to pass away. Or you come to a new level of enlightenment that, to sustain this level of enlightenment, right, causes a lot and great deal of effect on your body or your mind. Or you just start seeing spirits and you can't stop. Right? And that's a lot for people. And I know a lot of people want this ability. They do. Personally, I don't want to say I've never seen a spirit, but I don't believe I've ever had my third eye fully open. I have had my throat chakra opened up, and that was a scary experience in itself. Right? So when you're working on bettering yourself, just be aware of certain things, certain shadows, certain things that you see over here, over there, or certain things that you hear, right? Because it's not all fun and games just to have a superpower, right? Everybody has this capability. It's not all fun and games. With every single one of these abilities comes a certain amount of insanity, right? Clairaudience, hearing voices, picking up on angels, demons, spirits. Those are all things that happen to people with this ability. Clairsentience, right? There's a lot that can happen with that. Even though you have the ability to take energy, give out energy, connect to people's energy, right? It can cause empathetic burnout, right? Which makes you a hermit. Even though you want to go out and talk to people, you just can't do it. And that's only one thing. Claircognizance. Well, perhaps it would be just annoying to know everything. No. That would come with its own level of pain too, wouldn't it? To know when your friends are going to die, to know when your family dies, to know when you're going to experience pain. The mystery of life is kind of taken out a little, don't you think? Once again, just one aspect of it, because I don't know a whole lot about claircognizance at this current point in time. And then we have clairvoyance. Seeing, experiencing, hallucinating things that aren't there. That's an ability, if left unchecked and uncontrolled, can ruin your life. Same as clairaudience, right? Clairsentient, all of these things. So just be careful when you're doing research and you're clearing your energy. And yes, stones can be abused as well. So once they run out of energy, right? If you're clairsentient, you can feel when they're running low on energy, so to speak, right? You could target them to specific areas of your body and pull all the energy out of it at once. Or you can force your energy points to open up when you're not psychologically and mentally ready to deal with the issues that caused them to close in the first place. Right? So psychology and spiritualism have a lot to do and has a lot in common. And if you look at Carl Jung's work, you can see the relation there, even though he claimed he was never a spiritualist, right? He just notices that there's a connection between the two, even if he didn't believe in it. It's uncanny to have the relation there. But with psychology comes the body, comes the mind, perhaps the soul. And, well, just take care of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Move slowly. Issues will pop up if you're starting to heal yourself. Deal with them. And when I say deal with them, I don't mean shove them down. I mean experience them, feel them, validate them. Okay? Let them make you cry if you have to. And after you fall down, get back up. Heal. Move forward. Shine brighter. Right? Alright. So, that's about it. So, and this video is running kind of long, so I think I'm going to cut it short here. I may make another video, but I think I got all the basic points across about this specific superpower. So, you know? I hope you all have a great night, and when in doubt, burn brighter. All right, good night.